Everyone, it's Christine here. I wanted to share this quick message on hope, faith, and times of challenging and navigating challenging situations, seasons of life, paths. There's been so much happening, and I feel like I'm always saying that, so it should just be a permanent maybe motto or mantra. But in connecting with so many folks, locally, virtually, around the world, I've realized so many people have been facing different challenges, struggles, hardships, different situations that are maybe weaving in and out of their lives, happening in different ways than they imagined. And there's a lot of things that are also outside of our control that are happening too, like macroeconomic issues surrounding prices, services, goods, things that may seem like they're in flux, etc. And I don't want to spend too much time on that or even expound that, but just simply preface that or this video with some of that because what I've noticed, and I'm speaking to from personal experience, which is just my own personal experience, but I wanted to share this, especially since my year has started off wonky and weird and a lot of challenges too. And I'm also very careful with how I phrase that and what I keep saying to myself because mindset is everything. And that's the first thing I wanted to talk about is your mindset. And it's really easy when things keep pinging at you. It almost feels like someone is throwing balls at you. You know, they're just throwing balls or pellets or tomatoes, whatever it is. You just feel like you're getting dinged by something when you are experiencing challenges, setbacks, or any situation in your life where you're like, what in the world is happening? I want to move forward and it just feels like you're moving back or you're stuck. And there are so many reasons why this happens, especially on a spiritual level, that is very tailored to everyone. But what I can say, it's not even important to focus on the spiritual signification or reasoning as to why things are happening just yet. It's really important to ask yourself, how am I feeling? What's happening? And to allow yourself to stay in those emotions and process them. Not forever, not too long, but enough where you get everything out that you need to, whether it's frustrations, anger, crying, and you feel into them. And I'll put a cautionary note. The longer you stay in those lower expressions of how you're feeling, the more shitty and weighty it feels. So there's a balance here, and only you will know when you're ready to move on and say, you know what, I'm done. I felt this. I can turn off the depressing music or songs and move on into the light from this darkness I may be feeling in this bubble or time. And that's one of the most important things for us, because if we don't feel it, you've heard this before, you don't heal it. More importantly, you can find yourself revisiting, recircling, or going back to that same situation and playing it over and over in your mind. And it's important, that's why I say, like, when something happens, it's important to sit with it for a little bit. I usually take 3 to 5 days. By the 5th day, I'm usually like over it, I'm done. And it helps me to journal it. So I offer this to you because I know so many people are going through challenges, and it's really easy to continuously hold on to that situation, that energy, that challenge, that event, whatever is going on, and to keep repeating it and playing it over. It's like watching the shittiest part of a movie and playing it over and over and over. And people are like, why? Why would you do that? Because it evokes some type of emotion and feeling. Generally lower expressions, right? Pain, frustration, anger, sadness, etc. And so in that same vein, why would you replay that over and over? That's why it's important when something happens, acknowledge it, feel into it, and allow that time to process and reflect and go through that tunnel of darkness. And I say that very broadly because it's relative. There's different situations at hand, and I'm keeping this video relatively to this point that I'm making and short. Second, and this goes again with mindset, which I mentioned earlier, but also with processing and allowing yourself not to stay too stuck on the story, is asking yourself, okay, this happened. What can I do about it? And a lot of times, many situations occur out of our control. We wish we could undo what has just happened or what we've just experienced, and we can't. And perhaps that's the level or that point in our journey where we experience even more suffering when we don't just accept, like, yeah, this happened. It's shitty. It sucks. It's annoying. Whatever the situation. And afterwards, you have to deal with whatever happens, whether someone hit your car, whether you fell down the stairs, whatever it is. There's so many situations that I've heard, that I've experienced myself, and so many things coming up. And so this is a point of allowing yourself to say, what can I do to move forward? Because after you've allowed yourself to really process what it is that's happening and get those emotions out and to contend with them and become familiar with them, but not to identify with them, we can ask ourselves in a more solutions oriented way, what next? What can I do now? Not a lot of times that entails maybe logistical things, and it'll depend on the circumstances or challenge, taking care of maybe administrative tasks and tending to yourself. And during these times when things are just, it just feels like you're being hit with tomatoes, where things are just not happening in the way that you want, it really helps to go inward and find that connection with self. And I want to explain briefly what I mean by that. And I'm really talking organically here. I don't have notes except one about hope for challenging times. A lot of times we rely on things that we can feel or see in our material world. And for a time, maybe to a degree, it can help us, right? But that connection, a lot of times, when we're trying to resolve or go through something, requires something that we may not always see, especially with the senses that we have in this earthly realm. It may also entail a deeper level of faith, of surrendering, and of detaching from what we want to happen, especially if it's out of our control. And this could entail our spiritual practices, prayer, meditation, taking time alone for reflection and journaling. This is what I mean by all of this. And it's really important during these challenging times to really be as compassionate as you can with yourself, because you may feel like all of a sudden things are completely put on pause, on hold. There's a break in your progress or movement forward. And when we are trying to get things done, it could feel frustrating. We may be feeling like, oh no, I'm getting left behind, I'm not making progress. What is it? There's a wrench in my plans, or something intruded or interfered or intervened that I didn't anticipate. Those are the things that we can't control. But we can control how we respond, which is number 3. And I guess this ties into what I mentioned initially through this video about mindset. And that's something that allows us and grants us so much power and empowerment, because no one can take our mindset away, no matter what happens or what we do. And that really dictates so much in our life. And I say this too from my perspective and what I've been going through, which hopefully I can talk about in the near future. But there's just been so much happening, and I'm like, what in the world? And I was so frustrated, I remember. And I'm like, you know what? There's nothing I can do. I can only deal with the now and what's happening. And I started focusing on things that I can still do now and enjoy. Because the more I fought against that, and that can be stubborn, and I know many people, when you're trying to overcome some type of transgression that has happened in your life, some type of setback or hardship or challenge, you will fight to gain as much control back. And what I've realized is many times it's about releasing that control and saying, you know what? I'm going to give up any semblance or reign of control that I have in the situation and just go retreat. It's not giving up, by the way. Go retreat inward and have faith that things are going to work out, and do what I can each step of the way. And there's so much more to dig into, but this has been something I've wanted to share for so long, because I have, again, like I said in several videos, including this one, so many people have been going through a lot of things. And it's so easy to constantly focus on that story or that hardship of challenge. This is what I've gone through. This is what's happened. It's really easy to go down that complaining rabbit hole and to spiral and to hang on to that. And the thing is, it really doesn't help you, it doesn't help your energy, it doesn't help your mindset. It just makes you feel heavy, makes you feel weighted, it makes you feel probably more morose, depressed. Doesn't make you see the joy or the light at the end of the tunnel. And so this is all dealing with mindset. And it's a work in progress. It depends on where you're coming from, how long you've been practicing this, but start small and start to look at solutions, start to look at what you can do and how you can take care of yourself. And this has been such a huge pivotal change in my own life right now and what I've been experiencing and going through. I'll just say I'm going through 6 house transits. For some of you that have a background, you will know. And as someone who has generally been healthy all my life, and the last time I was ever in the hospital was when I gave birth to my son in 2004. I'll just say this year has been different. And mindset has been key. Mindset has been huge. And tapping into things like, okay, you know what? I'm going to have to rework some things. I'm going to have to change some things, but I'm not going to let that steal my joy. And I just really wanted to offer words of encouragement, words that you're not alone, especially if your year has not started off in the way that you want. And for those of you where your year is going amazing, share your amazing triumphs below. I think it's amazing and I celebrate with you. It gives us, who may be navigating certain different circumstances this year, hope, faith, uplifting, encouragement. More importantly, to me, that it's like a boost. When I hear something amazing someone is going through or doing, I'm like, that's amazing. Share it with me. It boosts my spirits up. It makes me happy and it makes me realize this too will not last forever. Where we're at in this season of our life will not last forever. And that also points to thinking back to times in my life where I've experienced very low lows, and I've experienced a lot. And they don't last forever. And so this too will pass. And so I'll leave you with simply letting you know that you are able to control more than you realize. And it may not always be in the way that you want, but it does start from within you. So take this opportunity. I wouldn't even go into what's the spiritual meaning of what's happening to me just yet. Focus on yourself, on taking care of yourself in the best way possible, nurturing yourself, connecting to yourself in deeper ways, and allowing yourself to let go of trying to find out all the answers, of marinating in the hardship or challenge that you're experiencing. Don't identify with it. And allowing yourself to appreciate and to enjoy everything else good, positive, that feels amazing, to take precedence in your life. You guys, thank you so much for being here. Take a look at some of these other videos. I hope that helped or will help you on your soul journey. I will see you soon. Take care.